this session. Did you try it? Anyone? Did it work for anyone? Or did it not work for anyone? It should have worked. Come on, guys. You need to use the chat box. Did you try it? Any questions? So I need to ask questions then. Well, what are the topics we covered yesterday? Someone? I'm expecting an answer. Each one can list a single topic. Quantum entanglement, qubits. What does quantum circuit function contain? Actually, a quantum circuit function contains two things: the number of qubits to be in the circuit, the number of classical bits to be in the circuit. In the yesterday's program, we used two qubits and two classical bits. That function takes two arguments, in which one argument will contain the number of qubits, now another argument will contain the number of classical bits. We'll look at an easier way to declare it today. Avinash, introduction to quantum computing. Yeah, that's the topic of the session. I'm asking what are the topics we exactly covered. Superposition, great. Qubit, yeah, that's right. So I'll begin by presenting my screen. I guess everyone's here. So I'll start by presenting my screen. Gates in quantum bits. Yeah, nice. Naren. Yeah, sure, Naren. I'll send you the link for my GitHub profile. Yeah, I'll go ahead and send it right away too. So can you see my screen, everyone? Is it necessary to take same number of qubits and classical bits? No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. It depends upon the type of quantum circuit you are building. Some quantum circuits require the same number of qubits and classical bits. Some quantum circuit is fine with a different number of classical bits and qubits. It depends upon the algorithm you are building, but it's not really necessary. But it's good practice. So is my screen visible? Let me send you my GitHub profile, by the way. All right. So I'll send you my GitHub profile. Just a minute. All right. You can find the code there too. Inside, when you go to my profile, you'll find inside repositories, you'll find quantum computing. And in there, you'll find these five files. And we saw quantum computing 1.ipynb in yesterday's class. In today's class, we'll be seeing quantum computing 2.ipynb. Just click on it. It will load for a moment. And you will be given this option, open in Colab. When I click it, the same file will be opened in Google Colab. That's it. Go to my GitHub repository, go to quantum computing, click on open in Colab. You don't need token file for this. This is enough. In yesterday's session, we were using token file because we were running it in a real quantum computer. In today's program, we will not be running it in a real quantum computer. We will be actually simulating it. So we don't need a token file for it. We'll be only simulating our quantum computer. So if there are no further doubts, we can continue. So can we start? All right. So I'll go ahead and start. Okay, so as we did yesterday, I'm installing two things: Quiskit, Matplotlib. We did the same things yesterday, if you remember. Control Enter. I'll run it. We're installing the same two dependencies: Quiskit and Matplotlib. It's taking time. Let's wait. Yeah, it's been installed. So let me open yesterday's program as well to compare. It would be easier to compare if I open yesterday's program too. I'll go to GitHub. I'll open yesterday's program too. I'll go to quantum computing 1.ipynb and I'll click on open in Colab. So you don't need to open yesterday's program right now. You can just go on with the today's program. I'm opening it to compare the codes we just did yesterday and today. All right. So let it be right here. So we did the same things: pip install Quiskit, Matplotlib, import Quiskit SQ, Matplotlib inline. You need to do these two code cells every time you run a quantum circuit. So I'm doing the same thing here. I've done the installation Matplotlib and Quiskit. Now I'm going to import it. Import Quiskit SQ, Matplotlib inline. We're done with these two cells. Now in yesterday's program, what we did was we initialized a quantum register and a classical register, and then we passed the quantum register and classical register inside our quantum circuit. That's a really long task, defining a quantum register of two things, 2 qubits, classical register of 2 qubits, and passing them. An easier way is you can just right away go to your circuit and say q dot quantum circuit 2 comma 2, 2 qubits, 2 classical bit, 2 comma 2. So that's an easier way. What are we basically saying is in here we did quantum register 2, in here we did classical register 2. Just a minute. All right. So yeah. So we were giving quantum register, 2 quantum registers and 2 classical registers. Then what we did was we initialized a quantum circuit with the 2 quantum registers and classical registers. We are giving an easier task here. We're saying q dot quantum circuit 2 comma 2, meaning 2 quantum registers. There are going to be 2 qubits and 2 classical bits. We are not extending the part. We are minimizing it by saying 2 qubits and 2 classical bits. Then we are using an X gate. What is an X gate? What is an X gate? Not gate. Great. And then we are using an H gate. What is an H gate? What was an H gate? Come on. I'll zoom it a little bit. Okay. Superposition. Yeah, we are sending that qubit to a superposition. The correct way to pronounce the H gate is header mart gate. Header mart gate. So we are using a NOT gate and a header mart gate. Header mart gate places a qubit in superposition. So we are using the X gate in 0th qubit and header mart gate in the first qubit. 0th qubit we are using X gate, and in first qubit we are using header mart gate. Then we are going to draw the output. I'll run it. Yeah. So first 0th qubit has X gate applied to it, and first qubit has header mart gate applied to it. So we have 2 qubits and 2 classical bits. 0th qubit has X gate, and the first qubit has H gate. Now what are we going to do is circuit dot measure 0, 1, 0, what does it mean? In the previous program, we were measuring our circuit, right? Over here, we measured QR, CR, quantum register, classical register. However, here I'm saying measure the 0th qubit. So just a minute, guys. Here I'm facing some problem. Okay, all right, guys. So let's continue. So I'm saying measure the 0th qubit with the 0th classical bit and the first qubit with the first classical bit. That's what we are basically saying in the circuit.measure. I'm going to measure my 0th qubit using my 0th classical bit. So I'm having 2 qubits and 2 classical bits. It's a 0, 1, 0, 1. My classical qubit will be classical bit will be indexed based on 0, 1, 2. So I'll just say circuit.draw. That's it. I'll just say this. Will give me a basic drawing. Yeah, here I'm having one classical bit, two classical bit, two qubits and two classical bits. What I'm just saying is measure the 0th qubit Q0 with C0. Measure my Q1 with C1. Measure my 0th qubit with my 0th classical bit. Measure my first qubit with my first classical bit. So once we measure it, it will look like this. We are measuring my 0th qubit using my 0th classical bit and my first qubit using my first classical bit. So are we clear until now? Is my circuit clear? Or should I explain again? Come on, you need to understand. Whenever I come to this slide, I'm expecting answers from you. I'm expecting chat from you. So are we clear? Should I explain again? All right. Great. So kindly everyone answer. I know it's irritating to come and answer for every question I ask, but I prefer it because it will be more interesting and more understandable. So someone need to explain me again? No one? No. Great. Explain again, Pratiksha. Okay. So what are we basically doing is I'm defining a quantum circuit which has 2 qubits. This 2 signifies the number of qubits. This 2 signifies the number of classical bits. I'm using 2 qubits and 2 classical bits. Then what I'm saying is given NOT gate to my 0th qubit. There will be 0th qubit and first qubit. 2 qubits means it will have index 0 and 1. One will have the index 0 and one will have the index 1. So I'm applying my NOT gate to the 0th qubit. And I'm applying the Hadamard gate to my first qubit. NOT gate will inverse the operation. Hadamard gate will send the qubit to superposition. So I'm applying NOT gate to my 0th qubit and Hadamard gate to my first qubit. Then what I'm doing is I'm plotting it. So when I plot it, I'm getting the result. My 0th qubit has a NOT gate applied to it. My first qubit has an Hadamard gate applied to it. And then I'm having 2 classical bits. Now I'm drawing it using normal draw. This is Matplotlib's draw. This is normal draw. So in my normal draw, I can see I'm having 2 qubits, Q0, Q1, C0, C1. I need to measure it now because you can't really see a qubits, right? You need to observe. You need an observer to measure it. In previous program, we measured it by saying QR, CR. However, in this program, I'm going to say 0, 1, 0, what does it mean? Well, I'm measuring 0th qubit, Q0, with my classical qubit, 0th classical bit. I'm measuring my 0th qubit with my 0th classical bit. And I'm measuring my first qubit using my first classical bit. That's what I'm giving 0, 1, 0, 1. These two stands for the qubits index value. These stands for the classical bits index value. Measure the 0th qubit using 0th classical bit. Measure the first qubit using my first classical bit. Then I'm saying circuit.draw output equals matplotlib. So now it means I'll draw a normal output too. I'll just say circuit.draw. To get a better understanding. All right. So here, the 0th qubit is measured by 0th classical bit. M is right next to the 0th qubit and it's connected to 0th classical bit. So the 0th qubit is measured by 0th classical bit and my first qubit is being measured by first classical bit. Great. Are we clear? Pratiksha? Thanks. All right. So since we are clear with the circuit, we created our circuit. Now we need to simulate our circuit. I was telling you we will be simulating our qubits, right? We are going to simulate our circuit. So first we need to initialize the simulator. Let's see. In the last video, how did we initialize the simulator? I told the simulator equals q.aer.get backend Quasum simulator. I'm going to do the same thing, q.aer.get backend state vector simulator. There is another simulator called state vector simulator to simulate the qubits. They are using that simulator, state vector simulator, not a Quasum simulator. Quasum simulator replicates a real quantum computer. State vector simulator is used to often plot the results and plot the qubit, how the qubit looks like. So we are going to use state vector simulator. Then I'm saying, here I said job. I declared a variable called job and said q.execute circuit backend equals simulator. I'm going to do the same thing. Q.execute, the circuit is passed, backend equals state vector simulator. And another change is, here I said job.result. I declared a new variable called result and then I said job.result. Over here, I'm right away saying dot result. It's fine. The two things are the same. Using that variable and getting job.result and saying dot result at the same part, both is fine. Then I'm getting the state vector from the simulator. I'm getting the state vector. It is a state vector simulator. You'll be seeing what a state vector is. Once the visualization is done, you will be seeing what a state vector looks like. Then I'm getting the state vector from the simulator. How do I get it? In the previous time, we got counts. So what I did was result dot get counts. Similarly here, I'm going to say state vec job dot get state vector. In the previous it was get counts. Here it is get state vector equals state vector. I'm storing it in a variable called state vector. So I initialize my simulator, state vector simulator. Done. Then I'm going to initialize my Quasum simulator. The same steps, q.a or .get back and Quasum simulator. What is M? Which M are you asking about? The measure. Yeah. This M stands for measuring. As I said, I'm measuring my 0th qubit with my 0th classical bit, right? So M stands for measuring. Measuring my 0th qubit using my 0th classical bit, and first qubit using my first classical bit. M stands for measure. All right. So about the simulator. All right. Yeah, about the simulator. Q.a or .get backend Quasum simulator. I'm initializing a Quasum simulator. Then I'm saying q.execute. I'm passing the circuit backend equals Quasum simulator and getting the result, and I'm getting the counts from the simulator. Someone's trying to join. Okay. And I'm getting the counts from the simulator. Now let me run it and initialize the Quasum simulator as well. So I initialized two simulators, a state vector simulator and a Quasum simulator. So are there any doubts in this, initializing a simulator? Are there any doubts? Please explain again, show. So we are initializing simulators. Simulators are not real quantum computers. We'll be simulating the real quantum computer in our own computer. That will be the job of simulators. So here I'm defining a state vector simulator. You will be seeing what a state vector is. Don't confuse yourself by the word state vector. You will be seeing what a state vector is. When I'm initializing a state vector simulator, I'm saying q dot a or dot get backend. We did the same thing here. We told q dot a or dot get backend Quasum simulator in the yesterday's program. Similarly, I'm saying state vector simulator. Then I'm saying q dot execute my program using my circuit I just created. Using this circuit, pass this circuit to execute it, and then use the backend as statevecsim. Use this backend, statevecsim, and then get the result. And from the result, I'm telling it to get the state vector. State vec job dot get state vector. You'll be seeing a state vector when we actually plot it. We will be plotting a state vector. So you'll be seeing it when we actually plot that particular state vector. So we'll be plotting it. I'm telling to get the particular state vector. In a Quasum simulator, you'll be getting counts. In a state vector simulator, you will be getting state vector. So this is the difference between Quasum and state vector simulator. In Quasum simulator, you will be getting counts, get counts. In state vector simulator, you'll be seeing get state vector. That is the only difference, and the name is different. That's all the difference between these two things. Quasum sim q.a or .get backend Quasum simulator. I'm using the same things and just changing the name of the simulator, and I'm saying q.execute circuit backend equals Quasum simulator. Execute my circuit using the backend Quasum simulator, quantum simulator. Then I'm taking the result of that particular quantum job. Then I'm getting the counts. Here I was getting the state vector. Here I'm getting the counts. It is similar like we just deployed yesterday. We ran it in a real quantum computer and simulator, right? We are doing the same. We are running it in two simulators now, state vector simulators and Quasum simulators. And we have our results. The result from state vector simulator is stored in state vec. The result from quantum simulator, Quasum simulator is stored in counts. These two variables are important now, state vec and counts. We'll be using these two variables to plot our results. So is there any doubts? Are we clear? Or should I explain once more? Yeah, you'll be seeing what a state vector is. You'll be getting a better understanding when we plot it. So don't worry about state vector. I'll tell you what is it. Any other doubts? All right, all clear? No doubts? Should I explain again to someone? No, great. Feel free to ask doubts in the middle of the class. So we have declared two simulators now, state vector simulator and a quantum simulator. A state vector simulator will be simulating a qubit, and a quantum simulator will be simulating the operation of a quantum computer. Qubit and the simulating the operation of quantum computer and simulating a qubit is totally different. You will be getting a better understanding when we actually visualize the results. So before we visualize, we need to import something from Qiskit. Qiskit.tools.visualization import plot blotch multivector and plot histogram. We imported plot histogram in yesterday's program too. When I go back, here I've imported plot histogram. With that, we plotted this histogram. Here, I'm gonna say plot blotch multivector. You'll be seeing what is it, what the operation of the plot blotch multivector. You'll be seeing what is it. So I'm importing two things: plot blotch multivector and plot histogram. You know the operation of plot histogram already. This is the operation of plot histogram. We need to pass counts into plot histogram. Over here, you'll see. I'm going to pass my state vector into plot blotch multivector. We got a state vector as the result from the state vector simulator. And then I'm going to pass my state vector into plot blotch multivector. So, yeah. Let me close the results. Yeah. So I'm passing the state vector into plot blotch multivector. So first I'll run this. And here I'm passing the state vector from my circuit. All right. You observe, we're getting two results. All right. We're getting two results. This is my qubit 0. This is the state vector I am talking about. This is my state vector of my qubit. This is how a qubit really looks like. I was telling it will be a percentage of 0 and 1, right? This is how a qubit looks like. So we have measured it. So my qubit 0, what operation did I give to qubit 0? I used a NOT operation to my qubit 0. So it turned from 0th position to 1 position. And my qubit 1, I used an Hadamard gate. I used an Hadamard gate to my qubit 1. So what happened is it collapsed to 0. It will collapse to either 0 or 1 whenever we measure it. Now it collapsed to 0. But if we measure it again, maybe it will collapse to 1. If we measure it again, maybe it will collapse to 0 again. So it depends. Now it collapsed to 0. We defined two qubits. One was using NOT gate and one was using Hadamard gate. So the NOT gate qubit results 0. It results 1 because it will be basically at 0, initially at 0. And then we apply NOT gate, so it inversed and the vector is pointing at 1. And here, it will be circulating all around. It will be superposition, both between 0 and 1. But when we measure it, it will collapse to a single point, 0 in this case. So are we clear about state vector? This is how a qubit will look like. Any doubts about the state vector? Are you understanding the plot we are getting? Is this plot reasonable? We got a 0th qubit and the first qubit. We applied a X gate to my 0th qubit and H gate to my first qubit. So is this reasonable? So should I explain again about qubit? Yeah, okay. So what happened to my Hadamard gate was, Hadamard qubit was, it actually collapsed to 0. So if we actually run it again, let me run it again and show you. I guess I need to run the whole part again. All right. So I'll go above and run my state vector simulator again. Because we are measuring, whenever it's measured, it will collapse to either 0 or 1. I ran my state vector simulator. Now I'll run this plotting. It collapsed to 0 again. Let me see if it's collapsed to 1. I want it to collapse to 1. I need to show you it will collapse to both 0 and 1. Now it's collapsing to 0, my first qubit. I'm looking at my first qubit, all right? I will run it again. I'm pretty sure it will collapse to 1 at some point. Maybe I need to run the whole circuit again. Let's see. Yeah, got it, right? We got it. Now the qubit is collapsed to 1. In the previous cases, my first qubit, which I had in superposition, was collapsing to 0 when I measured it. Now it is collapsing to 1. So as I told you, whenever you measured it, it will either collapse to 0 or it will collapse to 1, and it will give us the results. Now it collapsed to 1. It didn't collapse to 0. Now, before, in the previous 3 or 4 outputs, we are getting it in 0. Now it's been collapsed to 1. This is the case of superposition. This is actual representation of superposition. Sometimes when we observed it before, it was collapsing to 0. When we are observing now, it is collapsing to 1. It is based, till we observed, it was both in 0 and 1. This is proof of till we observed it was both in 0 and 1. This is the exact proof, I could say. Because until we observed it using our classical bit over here, measured it, right? We measured it using a classical bit. You measured this qubit 1 using a classical bit measure. Until we measured it, it was both in 0 and 1. But when we measured it, it collapsed to either 0 or 1. So when did we measure it? When I ran it in a simulator. When did I execute my whole circuit? I measured it. I created my circuit and measured it again when I executed my whole circuit. Now, at that point, what happened is it will either collapse to 0 or it will collapse to 1. Now, it has been collapsed to 1. The previous, it was been collapsing to 0. This is actual proof that the qubit was in superposition. It was both in 0 and 1 until we measured it. But when we measure it, it goes to either 0 or 1. So are we clear? Can we also visualize how does the state vector looks before measurement? Yeah, we'll visualize that. Don't worry. We'll visualize how a state vector looks before measurement. I'll show you. I was planning to show it to you. Don't worry. Is there a chance that both collapses to 0? Both. Why does this one need to collapse to 0? Because we applied a X gate to this. We didn't apply superposition to this. We only applied superposition to our first qubit. We applied X gate to my 0th qubit. What does X gate does? If it is in 0, it will make it to go to 1. If it is 1, it will make it to go to 0. That is the function of an X gate. So why does an X gate needs to go to 0 again? It was basically in 0. Now it goes to 1 again. So are we clear about the superposition? This qubit was in superposition. Do you believe that this qubit is in superposition right now? When we measured it, the superposition was destroyed, and we got a measurement of either it was in 0 or 1. What if we want to entangle both the qubits? We will look at it too, can we? We'll look at it step by step. Now we visualize these 2 qubits, then we visualize it before measurement, then we'll look at the entanglement too. It's all planned in this today's session, don't worry. All right. So are there any doubts about this visualization? Is there anyone who are not understanding this visualization, who's telling me this visualization is not sensible to them? Anyone? Is this visualization reasonable? Can you reason this visualization? Yeah, great. All right. So we got our 2 qubits visualized. Now we'll use the plot histogram function. As usual, as yesterday, we are getting the probability of being the first qubit being 1. I think this is the first qubit and this is the, yeah. This is the first qubit and this is the second qubit, 0th qubit and the first qubit. The probability of 0th qubit being 1 is, there is both probabilities. In this part, 0th qubit is 1, 2. In this part, 0th qubit is 1, 2. And the first qubit is 0 here and 1 here. Because the first qubit is in superposition. That's why it's telling 2 possibilities. The first qubit being 0, the first qubit being 1. This is the first qubit. 0 is the first qubit. And this one is the second qubit, 0th qubit. The 0th qubit is 1 at both cases. You can see. The 0th qubit is 1 at both cases. Because as we saw, this 0 qubit was not changing. But this first qubit was changing from 0 to 1, jumping from 0 to 1. So only the probability will change from depending on the first qubit, not the 0th qubit. All right. So 0th qubit was in 1 at the all times because we are applying a NOT gate to it. So 0th qubit will be at 1 in all times. However, the first qubit, it is in superposition. It will jump from 0 to 1, 1 to 0, stuff like that. All right, are we clear about the histogram? My 0th qubit wasn't 1 at the both of the times. But however, my first qubit, it was in superposition. It can be 0, it can be 1. There is 2 possibilities. Are we clear about the histogram? Are we clear about both visualizations, multivector and histogram? Actually, it's a state vector, yeah. Are we clear? Shall we move on? All right, so I'll go below now. A qubit in superposition. We will visualize a single qubit which is in superposition. Someone asked me to visualize a qubit in superposition without measuring it. So we'll be doing it right now. All right. Well, so this is my circuit. In my circuit, I'm saying QC. I'm calling my circuit as QC. And then I'm saying Q dot quantum circuit 1, comma 1. Meaning, what is the meaning of this? How many qubits and how many classical bits will be in my quantum circuit? Can someone tell me Q dot quantum circuit 1, comma 1? How many qubits and classical bits will be in my quantum circuit? One qubit, one classical bit. Great, Pratiksha. So we'll be having one qubit and one classical bit. This is one qubit in my classical circuit and one classical bit. And then I'm applying an H gate. H gate stands for Hadamard gate. It will make that qubit go to superposition. And then I'm commenting this line. I'm not going to measure this. I'm just commenting this line. It will stay as it is. So I'm commenting this line out. So I defined my qubit. I applied an Hadamard gate to my qubit. Then I am drawing it using Matplotlib. That's all I'm doing. Wait, my qubit is defined my one qubit and one classical bit. My one qubit has an Hadamard gate to it. I'm not measuring it using my classical bit. You can see it in the visualization. When I measure it, the visualization will look like this. This measure logo will be visible, I guess. Over here, I'm not measuring it. I'm just defining a qubit with an Hadamard gate, making it go to superposition. I'm not measuring it. Now I'm initializing a state vector. So how do I initialize it? As you guys already know, state vector simulator, q dot aer dot get backend, state vector simulator, state vector job, q dot execute, QC, the circuit you are going to pass. In the previous one, we said circuit, and here I have defined it as QC. That's why I'm saying QC here. Then the backend is state vector simulator, and I'm getting the result. Then I'm getting the state vector from the result. I'm saying state vector job dot get state vector from the result. Then I'm going to plot my state vector, plot my particular state vector. So are we clear about this circuit? We are going to give a plot now. Are we clear about the circuit? No. Hadamard gate doesn't entangle qubits. Hadamard gate makes a single qubit go to superposition. Makes a particular single qubit go to superposition. Entanglement happens when we connect two qubits. Hadamard gate makes it go to superposition, all right? So are we clear until this circuit, this particular circuit? Any doubts? Okay. So before I visualize it, I need your opinion. What will you think the visualization will look like? We'll get a state vector like this, obviously. We'll get a state vector like this sphere. Where will be the vector pointing at? This vector, where will be the vector pointing at? It will point at 0 or 1, it will point at anywhere. Where will be the vector pointing at? Any guesses? Just think of it. We are having a qubit in superposition. We are not measuring it yet. So it will not collapse to either 0 or 1. It will not collapse to both of them because we didn't measure it yet. We just defined it and we are visualizing straight away. We didn't measure it. Before measuring, I'm visualizing it. I'm actually plotting it before measurement. So what will it look like? Where will the vector be? Some superposition of two state. So Naren is telling that it will be some superposition of two state. It has probability of some 0th qubit and some probability of first qubit. All right. Then at the vector, where will be exactly at the sphere? Along x-axis. Can we make the set of n numbers of n qubits and apply Hadamard gate on the whole set of qubit? Yeah, we can do it. We will be doing it in tomorrow's class, actually. Don't worry. We'll be doing using an algorithm to predict the number. In that case, we will be using n qubits and we will be applying Hadamard number of gates to that particular qubits. So don't worry. We'll be using it in tomorrow's program. Combined of 0 and 1. So all answers are okay. There the vector will be pointing at the sphere. In here, my vector is pointing at 1. Here my vector is pointing at 1, 2. In previous, it was pointing at 0. So where will be the vector pointing at? Someone told, yeah, Subramaniam told it will be pointing at along x-axis. So any other answers? Come on, just guess. Give your guess. No, I don't. It doesn't need to be right. Think of what is logical. What would be logical? All place. That's a nice, interesting idea. Some inclination. Yeah. Naren is saying it would be at some inclination. Well, let's look at it right away. Enough suspense. Now I'll run this. Yeah, it is actually pointing at the x direction because it is between 0 and 1. Someone told the x direction. He was right. Subramaniam, you are right. Because it is between 0 and 1. It is neither pointing at 0 nor at 1. It is between 0 and 1. That's why it's pointing at x direction. It is between those two. It is actually circulating. It is at the both position. That's why it is taking the medium point. It is pointing at x direction. So is this reasonable? Is this clear? We are plotting an Hadamard gate before it is measured. Are we clear? Any doubts about this plotting? I guess the visualization is pretty much self-explanatory. Any doubts? Any doubts about the particular plot we are getting here? This plot, this qubit. Is this reasonable? Is this visualization logical? If you run the plot again, it will be the same point too. The zeroth part is covering more area. So can we say the probability of 0 is more? Zeroth part is covering more area? No, it's not. The both parts are basically covering the same area. It's not a 3D view, so you're not getting the actual visualization. It's just a 2D visualization, but it's a sphere. But this arrow mark, it's covering both areas at the same ratio. So that doesn't mean we are getting a probability of 0 and 1. It's basically it's in superposition. So it means it both exists in 0 and 1. It is both at the both points, 0 and 1 at the same time. It is not either at 0, not at 1. It is at both points. Yeah, the zeroth qubit covers 50% of the first bit and the 50%. Yeah, 50% of 1, 50% of it covers 50% of 1, 50% of 0. We don't know if this is the actual visualization. The Qiskit has, well, they have decided to give this visualization correct for this Hadamard gate. But we wouldn't know if this is the actual visualization when you measure it. When you measure it, it will actually go to 0 or 1. We won't know how the atom will look like when it's at both 0 and 1, when it's in superposition. No one knows when how atom or how an electron looks like when it is superposition. We didn't know how the cat was until we observed it. We didn't know either it was dead or alive until we observed it. It is the same thing to an atom. We won't know exactly where it is until we measure it. That's why they are giving an hypothetical state at x between 0 and 1. They thought it would be reasonable maybe. All right, so we'll go ahead and measure it now. We did it before measurement. I'm going to measure my 0th qubit using my 0th classical bit. I'll run it. Great. My Hadamard gate is applied and I'm measuring it. Now I'll run my state vector simulator. It collapsed to 1. Now I'll run it again. Let's see where it collapses. 0. It collapsed to 0. Again 0. 1. 1. It is collapsing to 1 again. So you can see it is collapsing to either 0 or 1 just when we execute it. Measure it and execute it. 1 again. 0. So are we clear about the Hadamard gate? But why not why x, not y? As I told you, it is just an hypothetical plotting by the Qiskit community, by the Qiskit company. It is not the real plotting. Maybe they thought the qubit was circulated, the vector was circulating along the x-axis, not the y-axis. Maybe that might be the case. So that's why they are plotting it in x part, not at the y part. So it's not really accurate, I would say, because no one knows how a qubit or how a quantum particle looks like when it's in superposition. No one knows it. So they are basically hypothesizing something. Yeah, there are possibilities, but we can't give proof about how a quantum particle looks like when it's not measured. No one has the proof. All are hypotheses. We only know the position when it is measured by a classical bit. Yeah, that is possible too. Actually, many things are possible with qubits. And this is the interesting part. It is collapsing to 0 and 1 whenever we measure it. This is the interesting part. This is actually the proof that the qubit was in superposition. It is collapsing to either 0 or 1. This is the proof that the qubit was in superposition, exact superposition. So are we clear about superposition? I'm clear about the concept of superposition and how does a qubit act like when it's in superposition? Everyone? Any doubts about superpositions? I hope everyone remembers the definition about superposition. Can someone give me the definition about superposition now? Yeah, someone give me the definition about superposition. About the, well, based on the experiences we gone through quantum computing and the plotting we saw right now, someone create your own definition or your own point of view about superposition. That would be interesting. Probability of the being 0 or 1 at a time, I would say that would be not the exact answer, because they both, superposition means it is both at 1 and 0 at the same time, both dead and alive, both 1 and 0. Yeah, Bina gave the right answer, exact answer. Both 0 and 1 at the same time. Linear combination of 0 and 1 state. Yeah, that is right too. Superposition is sum of states located at the same time. Yeah, that would be a good explanation too. Good, Naren. So let's move on to entanglement. Someone asked about entangled qubits. So let's look at it too. I'm creating a new quantum circuit here. I'm calling it QC1, quantum circuit 1. And I'm saying Q dot quantum circuit 2, comma 2. What does it define? How many qubits and how many classical bits will I have? Yeah, I'm having some other answers to say. Can stay in multiple states till measured. Yeah, that's right, Pranav. Probability of the result of combination of all possibilities. Well, I can't say it's actually probability because it's a superposition. It's a, actually it's both states. It can't be defined as probability. Okay, two qubits and two classical bits. Pranav answered. That's right. Yeah, having two qubits here and two classical bits here. Then I'm applying my Hadamard gate to my 0th qubit. Hadamard gate to my 0th qubit and a controlled NOT gate to my first qubit. What is a controlled NOT gate? Does anyone remember what is a controlled NOT gate? CX. What is a CX gate? Can anyone give me an explanation? What is a control NOT gate? Don't anyone remember? Mod 2 gate. We used our control NOT gate. I'll show you the part we used control NOT gate. I'll even show you the similarity. Yeah, we used control NOT gate right here. Yeah, it will look like this. The visualization might look like this. So what is a control NOT gate? XOR. Entangles qubit 0 and 1. How exactly it entangles is when the 0th qubit is 1, the first qubit will also be 1. When the first qubit, 0th qubit is 0, the first qubit will also be 0. This will become 1 only if this qubit is 1. This will stay at 0 if this is 0, 2. This will become 1 only if this qubit, the 0th qubit is 1, the entangled qubit is 1. So we're doing the same thing here. We are creating an header mark gate to my 0th qubit and control NOT gate to my first qubit. My first qubit will become 1 only if my 0th qubit is 1. If it is 0, it will become 0. All right. So I'm not going to measure it today. Again, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to measure it. I'll just run a plot. So I'm having a quantum circuit. My 0 qubit has header mark gate. First qubit has control NOT gate. When my 0 qubit collapses to 1, it will collapse to 1, 2. When it collapses to 0, it will collapse to 0, 2. That is the basic working behind it. So are we clear about the circuit? Whenever qubit is 1, the second qubit flicks. Qubit 1 is controlled. Yeah, that's right, Subramaniam. That's the exact answer. If A control B, then B depend on A. That's right too. It's all about entanglement. You remember the Geo and Vodafone example someone gave me. The intelligent example was that's what great. Kind of subset. Yeah. Kind of subset theory. Okay, that's reasonable too. All right. So are we clear about the quantum circuit? Are we clear about this quantum circuit? We have an Hadamard gate, a controlled NOT gate, and we have entangled my Hadamard gate with a controlled NOT gate. I'm entangled my Hadamard gate to the second qubit using my control NOT gate. Entangling my first and second qubit, 0th and first qubit to be precise, 0th and first qubit, and I'm entangling them both using a control NOT gate. Are we clear about this circuit? No doubts. Should I explain again? Please, guys, answer. I know it's annoying to answer. I've been through it. I know it's annoying to answer, but it makes this interesting. That's why. All right. So I'll go below. Now I have my circuit which have a 0th qubit entangled with my first qubit. Now I'll initialize my state vector simulator. Close the simulator. I don't want you to show the results. Now I'm initializing my state vector simulator the same way. We get backend state vector simulator, execute the first QC1, my quantum circuit one. This is my name of my circuit. So I'm executing my circuit using the backend state vector simulator, getting the result. Then I'm saying state vector simulator get state vector of QC1. That's it. So what will be how will the two qubits look like? How will my two qubits, 0th qubit and first qubit look like? How will those two look like? Any ideas? Where will be my vector of my 0th qubit? I have not measured them both. So try predicting now. I have not measured the both qubits, 0th and first qubit. I have not measured it. My 0th qubit is in qubit position and my first qubit is entangled with my 0th qubit. So how exactly will be the state vector of my 0th and first qubit? Where will the vector point at? Now it's entangled, as you already know. Where will the vector point at? Make some predictions. First one at 0 and second one at 1. No, that's wrong. That won't happen because, as I told you, if the first one is 0, second one will be 0, 2. And then it is not, we didn't really measure our 0th qubit. So it won't collapse to 0 or 1. Even if it's 0, 1 or 1, if the first one is 0, second one will become 0, 2. If the first one is 1, second one will become 1, 2. Yeah, it's entangled, but this entanglement in quantum computing is different from real entanglement. In here, we are using control NOT gate. So it will actually, if this one is, the function of the control NOT gate is, this one rises up, this one is 1, the second, the connected qubit will be 1, 2. That is the function of control NOT gate. The real entanglement may be different. 0th qubit will be between 0 and 1. How with the first qubit? Muthu is saying 0th qubit. Okay. First qubit copies 0th qubit. Yeah, that's right. Both can be represented in one single parent qubit. No, that won't happen. I guess that won't happen. First one x-axis, second one also x. Let's see. Both are many interesting ideas are here. So let's see. Both are entangled and point to middle. This is interesting, Mr. Subramaniam. All right. Then both will be at 1. So let's look at it. Why the suspense? So as you can see, the both vectors are right here, right in the middle of the qubit, because this qubit depends upon this qubit. So it can't point at 0 or 1 without having the position of this qubit. That's why it's pointing at the same point as this qubit too. Someone gave me the answer. Mr. Subramaniam, both are entangled and point to the middle. So he's right. I guess he is already learned quantum computing. Are you, Mr. Subramaniam? He answered the last part right too. So this is the what he answered was right. My zeroth qubit and first qubit both are remaining at the middle center point of my vector, center point of my qubit sphere. Both are remaining because we haven't measured my both qubits. If we measure my zeroth qubit, it will give me the measurement of first qubit too. We haven't measured either of the qubits, so that's why it's staying at the middle point of the sphere. We haven't measured them both because the result of the first qubit depends upon the zeroth qubit. That's why it remains at the same position. All right. So are we clear about this visualization? Come on. Should I explain again? All right. So what is actually happening is this first qubit is dependent on the zeroth qubit. So unless I know the position of the zeroth qubit, my first qubit will not go to a certain position. So since my zeroth qubit position is unknown, the last part it was pointing at x because it was not entangled to other qubits. Now that is entangled to other qubit, the position of this qubit depends on this qubit. For example, if it is at pointing at x, it might point at the opposite direction, or it might point at x2. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't go to superposition. Only this qubit is in superposition. This shouldn't go to superposition. That's why they are giving a will. This example, this plotting, having the vector right in the middle of my qubit, right in the middle of my qubit. They are giving this example to this plotting to visualize our qubits, which is entangled and both in superposition. If it's not in superposition, the result may vary. But since it's in superposition, they both are entangled and one qubit is in superposition. We don't know the plotting of the qubit unless we measure the both of them or either one of them. If we measure this qubit, which is in superposition, we can get the result of this qubit too, because this is the one which is in superposition. We measure this, we can get the result of this too. Since we didn't measure both of them, they both are in sort of entangled state and not knowing their state. They are not revealing their state. Actually, they know their state. They are in some state right now. They are not revealing the state to us because we haven't measured them. So they are not revealing their states to us, these two qubits. Because this time we are this also question then why it is not pointing at the x-axis, because this time we are entangling two qubits. One qubit depends upon the other. For example, let me say they are pointing at the x-axis. We will be getting doubts saying if this points at the x-axis, my first qubit would need to point either at 0 or 1. Which one will it point? Because my first qubit will only point based upon the zeroth qubit. It is we are using control not gate, right? It will point depending upon the zeroth qubit. If this is at 0, it can't point at 0 or 1 at both or at both. It can't point at anything. It can't either point at x. If it points at x, it will go to superposition too. So we can't do that. That's why they are giving a different example, different plotting, saying that these two qubits are entangled and their states are yet to be defined. Yeah, when we measure, the qubit state collapses. Until measurement, it will not collapse. So, are you clear, Tanvi Pandya? All right. So I'll move on. Now what I'll do is my zeroth qubit is the qubit which is in superposition, not my first qubit. Only my zeroth qubit is in superposition. So if I measure my zeroth qubit, I can get the position of my first qubit too. Is it reasonable? Is it reasonable? If I measure my zeroth qubit, I can get the position of my first qubit too. As I told you, one qubit can information when two quantum particles are entangled, one quantum particle can give information about the other quantum particle. So where is that picture I just downloaded yesterday? Let me see. Yeah, over here. One quantum particle can give me the position of the other quantum particle. So if we measure one quantum particle, we can get the measurement of other quantum particle too. So the qubit which is in superposition, if we measure one qubit, we can get the position of other qubit too. So is that reasonable? Is my logic reasonable? Yes? Do you think it's reasonable? Since both qubits are here, if we measure one, we can get the position of the other because they both are entangled. When both are entangled, one has the information of other and another has the information of the one. So if we measure one qubit, we can get the position of the other qubit too. So do I make sense? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my one single qubit. What qubit I'm going to measure is I'm going to measure zeroth qubit first, which is in superposition. I'm going to measure my zeroth qubit, which is in superposition. Now I'll run it. So I'm measuring only my zeroth qubit, which is in superposition. Now I'm plotting it. Now these both qubits should give me answers. Great. So my zeroth qubit, which is in superposition, has been collapsed to 1. Since it is using a controlled NOT gate, my first qubit is collapsing to 1 too. Because when this is 1, this will collapse to 1 too. Let me run it again. This 0, that will collapse to 0 too. If this collapses to 0, that will become 0 too. My zeroth qubit is the one in superposition. If this collapses to 0, it will be the 0 too. If it collapses to 1, it will become 1 because we are using control NOT gate. If this is 1, it will become 1. Either it will stay. If it is not 1, it will stay at 0. Let me run it again. Now it's 1 and it becomes 1. 0, 0. As I told you, we only measured my zeroth qubit. But I got the positions of both qubit. I got information about both qubit. I measured only one quantum particle, but I got information about two quantum particles. That is the function of entanglement. That is the speciality of entanglement. We are entangling two things. If the two qubits are like one qubit is in America and one qubit is in India, and the both qubits are entangled, to get the information from my qubit which is in America, I can just measure the qubit which is in India. I can get the information from the qubit which is in America. So that's how the two qubits are in entanglement. Are we clear? Is the visualization clear? What we just did. How did we get the two visualizations pointing at both 0 or either one, both 1? What if we also connect a NOT gate before the Hadamard gate? So yeah, we can do that too. When a NOT gate is applied, it will go to 1, and when a Hadamard gate is applied, it will go to superposition again. So it basically makes no difference. I'll just do it to you. I'll do a NOT gate before the Hadamard gate. QC1 dot takes of 0. So I'm applying a NOT gate to my 0th qubit. So here we have it, a NOT gate and Hadamard gate, an entanglement, then a measurement. So now when I run it, it is pointing at 1 now. As you can see, it's pointing at 0. It makes no difference. Pointing a qubit to NOT gate and making it go to superposition are both the same because it goes to superposition at the end, right? Superposition means it is both at 0 and 1. So it's really the same. What is the other operation except control in entanglement? Well, I'm not sure what are you talking about, Tanvi Pandesh. Can you elaborate the question? Or you can use your mic if you want to. You can use the chat box, or if you're comfortable with, you can use your mic. try elaborating the question. So until that, we can look at the circuit. So I'll remove my NOT gate now, since I know the both operations are the same. So now I will get to the same result as usual. But I told you something. What I told you was, if I measure this qubit, I get the information of this qubit too. So if I measure this qubit, will I get the information of my superposition qubit, the qubit which is in superposition? If I measure my first qubit, will I get the information of my zeroth qubit? Do you think I will get the information of my zeroth qubit if I measure my first qubit? What do you think, guys? Will I get the information of my zeroth qubit if I measure my first qubit? I measured my zeroth qubit and got the state of my first qubit, because this one was in superposition. But if I measure my first qubit, not measuring my zeroth qubit, only measuring my first qubit, will I get the position of zeroth qubit too? Yeah, Pranav is saying yes, Pratiksha is saying no, Naren is saying no, Muthu is saying no. Control is one of the operation in entanglement. For A equal B, say any other operation like A not equals B. Well, there are operations like well, I'll send you a I'll do something. I'll send you the list of gates available for making operations. So I'll send you the list of gates available, which has separate operations like the Hadamard gate. There are many gates available. In fact, you can create your own gate too. And you can create your own gate, which has you can create a control NOT gate and say to apply a next gate after a control NOT gate. Yeah, you can say that too. You can say after a control NOT gate, you can apply a next gate. So if the control NOT gate becomes 1, so what I'll do is QC 1.x first qubit. So what I'm doing is, after my control NOT gate, I'm applying a next gate. So if this is 0, this will become 1. If this is 1, it will become 0. So after my control NOT gate, I'm applying a next gate. So we just did what you asked for. Now A not equal B. So what will happen now is, yeah, if this points at 1, this will point at 0. This points at 0, it will point at 1. So we just did it. We combined two gates and we just did it. You can even create your own gates. So are we clear, Tanvi? Is this what you are asking for, or did I give it wrong? Yeah, you can create your own circuit. You can create your own qubits. I mean, own gates, not qubits. You can create your own gates, and you can use them in your circuit. All right. So I was asking a question. I'll remove this and let me stick to the circuit which is in the starting, so that it will be at full when you run it in GitHub. All right, I'll stick to the same circuit. Okay. What are the answers I got from my questions? Yes, no, no, no. So if I measure my zeroth qubit, is CNOT gate and Hadamard gate for quantum computing only. Well, they can be used in normal computing too. Actually, we are not actually running it in a quantum computer. We are running it in a simulator, quantum computer simulator. We are not running it in an actual computer. It can be used in normal computers too. But these were specifically designed for quantum computers. There are versions for it in normal computers too. You can search for it and it will get the version, but it will not exactly perform the operations, because in quantum computer only you can give superposition, because in quantum computers the qubits, I'm talking about qubits, right? Those qubits are actual electrons, real life electrons. If you are applying the high magnetic pulse to those qubits, so whenever I say x gate to the qubit, so what will happen is a high magnetic pulse will be applied in the real world quantum computer, the quantum computer that is in somewhere else. So when I run it in a real quantum computer, a real magnetic pulse will be applied to the qubit. For example, if the qubit stays at 0, a high magnetic pulse will be applied, and the pulse will change the position of that electron from 0 to 1. It will go to 1. And when I make it 1 again, and another magnetic pulse, a particular frequency magnetic pulse will be applied, and it will go to 0 again. We are dealing with real electrons right now. We are dealing with real electrons when we run in quantum computer. But in classical computers, we are not dealing with electrons. This is just the forward and backward motion of electrons. We are dealing with the spinning of electrons. In quantum computers, we are dealing with the spinning of electrons, which is really quantum level. So are you clear, Ms. Beena? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my first qubit, not my zeroth qubit. My zeroth qubit is in superposition. I'm going to measure my first qubit, and let's see if I'm getting the position of my zeroth qubit. I'll measure my first qubit over here. I'll measure my first qubit using my first classical bit. I'll run it. Now the part of my Hadamard gate is not measured. Only my first qubit is being measured. Not my Hadamard gate is not at all measured. But I'm measuring my first qubit. Now I'll run it. Will I get output from both of them? Let's see. I'm getting output for both of them. Because I told you, right? When two qubits are entangled, if I measure either one of the qubit, I can get the information of the other qubit too. I have two qubits entangled here. So if I measure this qubit, I'll get the information about that qubit. If I measure this qubit, and I'll get the information about this qubit. So that is the purpose of entanglement. One qubit measured, I can get the information of the other qubit. I don't need to measure all the two qubits. When two qubits are entangled, one has the information of the other, and the other has the information of this qubit. Is this understandable? So many were saying no, it won't give it. But is this understandable right now? Do you understand the logic behind this? What is entanglement? The concept of entanglement. All right, great. So that's it about today's session. I guess we gone 8 minutes above. Guess no one minds. That is all about entanglement superposition. I was telling that you would clear your queries in today's session about entanglement superposition. So are we clear? Did I keep my promise, or did I forget to explain something? Should I explain something about yesterday's session, today's session? Are we having any doubts? Kindly ask your doubts about it. May be about yesterday's session or today's session. So no doubts at all. All right. So if you are having no doubts, I would recommend you to, if you haven't run the yesterday's code, I would recommend you to go and run yesterday's code and today's code. For today's code, you won't need any token files. You can just open it as I told you. You can go to my Google GitHub profile. You can do it in your smartphone too. So it's not a really big task. It will take you 5 minutes to run this notebook. It's not a big task to watch webinar, guys. You need to do it in real world, so it will give you a better understanding. So I'll go to it again. Yeah, you need to go to my GitHub. I'll go to the process again. Go to my GitHub, click on repositories, and you'll go to quantum computing. Click on quantum computing 2.iponb. This is available in smartphone too, so you can do it right away in smartphone. And click on Open in Colab. That's all you need to do. You don't need any other prerequisites to run this code. So I would recommend you highly to run this code and visualize your own qubits. Make some interesting gates and visualize your gates. Today we visualized Hadamard gate. We combined two gates and visualized it. So make those gates by yourself and visualize them. You will get a better understanding. To run this, you can just click on this run button and it will run right away. That's all you need to do. You can the time it will take you to run. How many cells am I having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It will take you less than 1 minute for you. If you are understanding, if you want to decode those cells, it might take you 10 to 15 minutes. It might even take you 20 minutes. I don't know about if you're going to modify the code. But I would highly recommend you to modify the code and do your tasks, because that is really effective. It's much more clear. Thank you, Kolay. So please run this code, because anyone can really watch the webinars, guys. The one who actually runs the code and practices gets more results. So I would recommend you to run this, because many doubts would arise when you are running a code. Many doubts would arise about the paths. about the coding when you're actually running a code. So I would highly recommend you to run the code. You don't need any prerequisites. You are just going to go to the Google Colab, click on the run button. That's all all you're going to do, and visualize the results. That's all you're going to do. But I'll highly recommend you to do that. So are we clear? Any doubts? Any more doubts? Bina, definitely. Sure, Bina. Thank you. Thank you, Pratiksha. I'm glad you'll try. So feel free to ask doubts about quantum computing or Python. Any doubts you are having in technical sites, you can ask any doubts. Thank you, Tanvi Pandya. I was hoping to make it clear in today's session. I'm glad you understood it. So if there are any doubts, if there aren't any doubts, you may leave. That's it for today's session. We'll meet tomorrow and we'll be looking at some algorithms. We'll be looking at some good algorithms, two algorithms if we have enough time. Thank you so much, Bina. I'm glad you found it useful. Yeah, we can entangle as we like. As I told you, when we did two things here. We entangled the qubit by making it, well, yeah, we entangled a qubit by making them both point at the same direction, and we used a NOT operation and made it one point at the one direction, one point at the other direction. The entanglement concept is same, but the only concept that is varies is the concept that this will be the opposite of that will be varying. If we perform the certain operations, as I told you, we perform NOT operations and we got this qubit opposite of this qubit, and before we performing that operation, this qubit was pointing in the same direction. The other than that, the concept about entanglement stays the same related to quantum computing. The concept about taking the information of one qubit and getting the information of the other qubit, measuring one and getting the information of other. That concept is still available, still worth in quantum computing, still useful. Can we have algorithm for cooling purposes for making sure to remove error? Yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, we can have a 10 minutes at the end of tomorrow's session, and I'll tell you how to remove errors from your algorithm, from your quantum circuit, from when you're running it in the real quantum circuit, how to remove the errors. I'll tell you how to do it in tomorrow's session. Thank you, Bacha. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you, Pratiksha. Thank you, Naren. Thank you so much, Bina. It's my pleasure. You can ask me as many times you like, and I will explain it again too. It's my pleasure.